record keeping of the Davis Mortuary is all paper-based, and so we're still doing manual reviews. All that is kind of slowing down the identification. And currently, the Fremont County Coroner, Randy Keller, is still leading that identification process for us. He's used all means, has exhausted all means of identification prior to DNA, so now everything else is going to go to a DNA type situation to identify those bodies, which is going to take some time, unfortunately. Also, as of today, the CBI has received 1,359 phone and email tips from our tip line. Of those 655, we've received 655 responses from our form that we created for those folks, which I would like to say we really appreciate everyone who's taken the time to fill out those forms that we made available online. And they really do help to help determine if their loved one has been part of one of these 24 bodies. I would like to say a few things for that particular part. Please allow us to be the ones to make contact to you if we believe, based on the information that was provided, that your loved one may be a victim in the case. We will reach out to you. It's not necessary after you've done that form to reach back out to us. And that there is a very strong possibility that you will never hear from us, because we will only contact you if we believe you're one of the 24 bodies. We will not contact folks otherwise besides that. And again, I just want to reiterate, it appears that most of these bodies are going to be from the 2010 to 2012 era. So if you do specifically believe that your loved one is in that area, then we would ask for you to go ahead and make sure you complete that form to assist in the identification process. Another thing I would like to say is, in the DNA process itself, we will reach out to folks if we need DNA. Please do not show up at one of our CBI forensic laboratories or CBI in general, or any of the other law enforcement agencies volunteering your DNA. That's not necessary. We will reach out to everybody that needs to do that. And then another additional for the families is the Division of Insurance has initiated an investigation into this case. And so if you had any kind of pre-needs situations with the Davis Mortuary, they're the ones that are going to be handling that, and we will send that information out so you can contact those folks a little bit later today after this. Another big question that comes out in the public is obviously why we haven't filed charges yet, and that's kind of what we want to talk about with the district attorney here. We've been consulting very closely with the district attorney, and we've made a deliberate decision to not file, piecemeal file charges. We want to file all the charges that we can at one time. We believe that's going to be the best way to handle this case and to deliver the justice that needs to be done. Because of the nature of the charges that could potentially be charged, we do need the identification of all the bodies. And until that's completed, we will not be able to actually file charges all at one time. So we've made sure that we've checked, what's the word I'm looking for here? Yeah, so we're going to charge all the charges at one time. So one of the delays is going to be those identifications of the bodies. Based on that progress, our current progress, and the complexity of the identification process, we do anticipate that charges are still months away. So we just want to make sure everybody understands that we're probably still months away from charging itself. A little additional things that's come to light in the public that I'd like to clarify. One of them is the Freemasons. The Freemasons do own the building that Davis Mortuary is part of. They are not part of the investigation. They've had nothing to do with it. And they've just merely been landlords for the Davis Mortuary. Brian Cotter himself, he has resigned as the Pueblo County Coroner. However, he has not relinquished his license to operate a funeral home. The revocation of that process is handled by the Department of Regulatory Agencies, DORA, and we understand that process is currently in motion. And in the meantime, we are in contact almost weekly with Mr. Cotter's lawyer regarding the criminal investigation. Another thing that I do want to comment on is the comparison to our Penrose case that CBI led, the return to nature case. Unfortunately, because of current court orders and current court proceedings, I can't talk about that case or make any comparisons to that case, but I will say that every case is unique and different, and this one is unique and different just like every other case. and so this one may take longer or less time or any of that kind of stuff. So there's really not even a good way to even make that comparison, if that makes sense.
Good morning, my name is Kayla Beauvais and I'm the Pueblo County District Attorney. Thank you for being here as we appreciate your assistance with helping us get this important information to the community. As we've indicated from the very beginning, this is a slow and tedious process, but the case is being investigated thoroughly. I know the community is outraged and feels betrayed, and despite wanting swift justice, the legal process is slow. Because my office is dedicated to true justice, I'm determined to get this case right. The filing of charges will be done correctly the first time. That means once the investigation is complete and CBI hands the case over to me, I will then review the entirety of the case and file all appropriate criminal charges. I am in weekly contact with investigators and as they continue their search warrants and their investigation. CBI will forward the case to me once they have completed the comprehensive investigation. As they have stated, so much of this involves the accurate identification of remains that are difficult to identify and from many years ago. In the press conference about a month ago about Davis Mortuary, I explained that once an arrest is made, the legal time clock begins. And it's vital for our community to understand the key constraints that govern our timelines, including constitutional rights as well as discovery deadlines. As I stated before, once an arrest is made, charges must be filed within days. Any defendant facing felony charges can then seek a preliminary hearing in front of the court that must be heard within 35 days of that request. Pursuant to Colorado Rules of Criminal Procedure, discovery, which includes any police reports, anything from the investigation, it's mandated to be turned over to defense within 21 days of filing the charges. If this investigation is not complete, then I cannot comply with that rule, which can in turn result in severe sanctions against the case, up to and including suppression of pertinent evidence and even dismissal of charges. I understand the community wants legal action now. We are being as transparent as possible when we tell you that this complex investigation and identification process means that we are likely months away from reaching the state where charges can be filed. It's not possible to predict an exact timeline at this point. Please know that we are committed to building the strongest case possible. Once CBI finishes this investigation and turns the case and reports over to my office, I will review the entirety and again, file any and all appropriate criminal charges at that time. I cannot act until the investigation is complete because I will not risk violating constitutional, ethical, or legal rules. Again, we ask for patience with the process so that this case can be handled correctly and we have the best case to put forward to the court. We owe that to the victims, families, and to our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Kayla. I'll try and identify who might be most appropriate for the questions, but we will open it up for a handful of questions if you want to start.
Yeah, this has certainly been a long process, it sounds like, of identifying remains, 6 out of 24. Is there a world in which you can't identify certain remains and you file charges at that point?
Kayla, I'm going to let you tackle that.
Sure. Yes, that scenario could exist, but we're not going to get there until we exhaust all of our resources in trying to identify those 24 remains, but that is a possibility, and we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
And this might be better for you. As far as now that they're beginning the DNA process, can you kind of explain for the general public, does this mean they've already looked at things like dental records? I don't know, just walk us through the process of identifying these remains and what that DNA process looks like.
Yeah, sure, that's exactly it. So they will go with dental records if possible, fingerprints. We brought the FBI in to help with the fingerprints. Those are the basic ones that we can easily get done quickly, and if those don't pan out, that's when we move to the DNA itself.
So dental records and fingerprints have already been looked at.
Correct.
With all 24 of these.
That's correct. Yes, that's all been completed.
Pueblo Chieftain?
And you guys mentioned in the press release earlier today that you guys hadn't questioned either Carter brother yet because they've retained legal counsel, and I guess if you could just explain why that's a barrier and why you believe that would be counterproductive at this point.
Clint? Or Kayla, would you rather do
Sure. Every person has a right, a constitutional right to remain silent, so they don't have to speak. That is their decision. That is their right. And so we have to abide by that. So if they choose to exercise that right not to speak to law enforcement, then that's their right, and we cannot violate that.
So they've specifically said that they did not want to answer questions at this point?
They didn't specifically said, but their lawyer, once their lawyer makes contact to us, then everything we do has to go through their lawyer.
Right.
We can't even directly contact those folks, yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
With charges in an arrest being months out or months away from right now, what are authorities doing to ensure that the Cotter brothers do not become a flight risk?
Clint, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Right now we don't believe they're a flight risk. I mean, they're been in the community a long time. Their whole lives are here. They've been business owners here. We don't believe they're any kind of a flight risk. I mean, we don't have ankle monitors or anything like that, but we don't have any indication that they're the flight risk. Plus, we've been in contact with Mr. Cotter's lawyer almost on a weekly basis, so I don't see any issues with that.
Do you know if they have passports?
I don't know, no.
In the green?
What about the jars of bones and tissues? Do you guys know, are those part of those 24 people, those bodies, or are those different individuals?
Clint, you can provide a little clarity on that.
Yeah, we found a lot of stuff there. Obviously, the 24 bodies were all whole bodies. We believe right now we're still looking into those other things that we found there. We really don't have an answer for that one just yet.
Thank you.
Just to piggyback off of that, I think you guys mentioned one of the things, jars of tissue. I guess I was just confused by what that meant. Like, were we talking about ashes, or are we talking about like physical flesh, and what's the purpose of that?
Well, like I said, we don't have an exact answer on that. It was a mortuary, so to have something like that's not too unusual. So we're still working to try to figure out exactly what that means. Yeah, that's part of the investigation.
And kind of jumping off of that too, I'm just curious, have you found any sort of motive yet of what they were doing with these bodies, why they were stashed away like this?
Yeah, I probably wouldn't even talk about motive or anything yet because it's an ongoing investigation. Yeah.
I'm going to do one more question if we have one right here.
I was just wondering, I know you guys talked about doing your due diligence and like how families can be cooperative with like not sending DNA voluntarily or anything, but what is your message to the family right now, since this is gonna be a pretty long process for them, and they might be wondering, is that my loved one? So what's your message to them?
Our CBI's message would be just please be patient with us. I mean, I have basically my entire office working on this, and we will try to get it done as quickly as we can.
And the district attorney's message on that is that we are working to do it right the first time, right? They have already undergone tremendous amounts of grief and finding out that they may be a victim in this process. And so we are going to do our best to put together the best case possible so that they're not being re-victimized through the process.
Thank you, everybody. We really appreciate your time.